Hello and welcome to Dear Love Talk. I am Helena
and I'm James.
And we are here to answer your questions. You can email us your questions on questions@lovetalkshow.tv and we promise to answer each one of them.
Hopefully we'll be able to help you with your relationship. Now, here's the first question on today's program. It says, I've only been married for 6 months, but I recently caught my husband looking at porn. Some people tell me to lighten up and that it's no big deal, but I feel really insecure at the thought of what he was doing. What is the best way to deal with this? Now, we don't have a name for the person who sent this question, but I do have to say that this is one of the latest big problems in relationships. I mean, you know, porn is not a new thing, but it's never been as available as it is now. You can get it anywhere. And I think a lot of people who say, oh, it's no big deal that he was looking at porn, for example. These are people who don't really see the consequences of what that does to a relationship. For example, some people say, well, it spices up your relationship. It makes it more fun. It doesn't spice up anything. It doesn't make anything more fun. What it does is that it creates, like this person who wrote to us, it creates insecurities. It makes a person to be very self-aware of her body, of things that might not be like what he sees or what she sees on the screen of those videos. So it's a problem, and I think you need to tell your husband, you've only been married for 6 months, as you said in your question, you have to tell him how much of a problem this is, that this is like a breach of the trust that you had. And of course, and help him to try to overcome this problem. You've only been married for 6 months. I wouldn't advise you to say, you know, that's the end of our relationship. Do try to help him to overcome this.
Yes, find out why. And if he's humble enough to confess it to you and say, listen, I have a problem with this, then, you know, you could help him. But it is a big deal. And people who say it's not a big deal, it's because they are not, you know, in your shoes.
Yeah.
And because you're very young, you just got married, you've been married, I mean, for 6 months only. You don't know yet what the consequences of watching porn is. But from what we have heard, you know, it's a big, huge problem. You know, couples, you know, there's no more intimacy there. It's just, you know, the videos and what the person watches. It's really, really terrible.
When you were saying what we have heard, it's not what we have heard people say on the street. It's what we see when we talk to couples, right? It's on the long term very damaging. So chances are that even though you just found out about this is a long-term problem. No one wakes up one day and says, you know what, I'm going to look at porn. Perhaps he thought, when I get married, I won't need this anymore, and maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's a problem he hasn't dealt with, and maybe you can help him with that. But certainly you need to be open about this, put it there on the table and say, let's deal with this problem, let's solve this problem.
And make him understand in a very nice way that if he doesn't change, things are going to have to change.
Yeah.
Because you don't know that now. You don't know this yet because you've only been married for 6 months. But from what we have seen by talking to people, it really destroys marriages. So you don't want that for yourself.
Absolutely. Next question.
Well, it's anonymous, from someone anonymous, and it says, hi guys, my friends say that I am shallow just because I know what I am looking for in terms of, you know, looks in a guy. This narrows my choices quite a bit, but I have stuck to my guns. Does this make me shallow? It doesn't make you shallow, but it's not very wise. I mean, what's the word here that I can use? You know, it's not ideal for you to be... for example, let me try to explain.
Explain.
Let me explain. When I was single, I kept myself to myself because I didn't want to date people around, because I didn't want to suffer and go from one to another. But I wanted a man who had the same principles I had. I could compromise on this and that, you know, appearance-wise, but the principles, the personality, the character had to be there because I knew what I wanted for my life, and that's where I was going.
Yeah.
Now, I needed someone by my side that could, you know, move forward with me.
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
But there's always the thing of preferences. For example, some people say, oh, I prefer someone who's blonde. I'll prefer someone who's, not too skinny or a little bit stockier. But what you can't do, and I don't think you're shallow unless you say, I want a Ken doll and I'm not going to remove this idea from my mind. But I'm sure you probably just have a preference to the person you're looking for. But it's important to understand that you are not going to find someone who is 100% exactly like you've imagined in your mind. Maybe you want someone who's, like someone said, look, I want someone who's 6'2", short hair, six-pack, from such and such country. I mean, if you're pushing it a little bit there, right? You have to you have to compromise a little bit on that.
You have to, because listen, people, chances are that you are single, you're looking for someone, right? And you have a very clear idea of what you want, but you're still alone. Mm-hmm. And chances are that perhaps the person you are looking at thinking, oh, I like that guy quite a lot because he fits my criteria. He's thinking, about, looking at you, he may think, oh, she doesn't fit my criteria because of this and that. Yeah. Things that are not so important. Maybe the way he dresses, because you can learn how to dress. But, you can go to the dentist and fix your teeth, but you cannot really fix people from within. Which is a lot more important, I think.
Unless they want to be fixed.
Yeah, exactly, unless they want to.
I don't think it makes you shallow, but I do think that you probably need to be willing to compromise a little bit on looks and look at the bigger picture, right? Perhaps the person is not 6'2", is 5'9", but they have a lot going for them.
And they are right there by your side and you can't see him.
Exactly, so think about that. Now, the final question says, and this is a good one. I really like this question.
Really?
I'm going to tell you why in a minute. It says, my husband recently joined a local football league with his friends that he has really taken a liking to. He now spends 2 evenings a week training and I feel like he's not giving me any time. How can I get him to drop this and focus more on me? First of all, I think you're asking completely the wrong question. The question shouldn't be how he can drop this team that he's now playing with his friends. I mean,
it's a healthy thing.
Dare I say that this is a little bit selfish? Because let's be honest. For example, Elena.
I shall speak very soon, trust me. Let him speak and I will give...
let's try to be plain but not hurt anyone's feelings. Let's be very plain here. There are things that Elena likes to do in her free time that I don't particularly like doing. And she has friends that she can go and do that with. I have limited amount of patience to going over clothes racks in a shopping center. The good thing is that Elena is not a big fan of that either,
please.
Right? But there are things she likes to do. For example, Elena loves to walk in the park. Right?
Yes, I do.
She likes to, there's nothing better for her than to go and walk in a park a whole day and then have coffee. And for me...
I've been asking him to play tennis with me since we got married, 14 years? He hasn't yet made time for me,
in
but
14 years, we have played tennis once.
Yeah, once. That's worth mentioning as well.
But, let me just say this. I don't like this park thing. So sometimes I make an effort, but she has a friend that, goes to the park with her. I don't mind. I don't feel like her friend is stealing her from me. But then again, I like to play football, even though I'm not very good at it. But Elena can't play football with me. She loves football, but me playing football with her, it doesn't really work. So
he's too competitive. That's why.
So I think sometimes it's important, Elena, for couples to understand that it is normal for you to do things sometimes with certain friends. It's not that they're a bad influence. It's okay. It's a release. It's something that you do.
I think it's a very healthy thing for your husband to want to play football. Maybe, because I'm a woman, maybe her concern isn't really the football, but the people he hangs around with. Maybe then I will understand why you are so worried about that. But there are things you can do for him to want to come home really, immediately, straight after the game. Yeah. How? By making your home a very nice, cozy environment, for having the right attitude, What do I mean by that? When he comes home, he knows, he expects, his wife will be there smiling, waiting for him with some snacks. Look, I made you something after you played so much football. You must be really hungry. So he knows, oh, let me go home because things are really good at home. Do you understand what I mean? So you can do these things and maybe and talk to him when you're not angry.
Yeah.
And agree perhaps that you will do other things together, but let him play football.
Absolutely.
Because it is a good thing.
So don't. I think the wrong question is, how can I get him to drop this? Don't get him to drop this. Celebrate the fact that he found something he likes to do.
He's a healthy man. I mean,
exactly. Find perhaps that time you can use to do something you like as well with a friend, and then you agree to meet after that. But I think more couples, Elena, have to be happy when someone else finds a hobby that they like.
Exactly. I think it's a healthy thing, I repeat. Don't, again, maybe your concern is the friends he hangs around with, which I would understand.
I don't think, from her question, it's more
know.
about the time.
Women, baby, women.
But she says, 2 evenings a week training, I want to give me more time. So, just...
You need to meet halfway, I think.
Yeah.
Just talk about it.
Meet halfway, be happy about it, and celebrate the fact that he enjoys doing something. Find something you like to do as well, and you meet halfway. That's the important thing.
And something else very quickly. Let him miss you. Let him miss you a little bit. It's very healthy for your relationship. Trust me.
I'm sure women will understand what she just said. I have no idea.
Let him miss you. Don't be always there, He's my man. Come with me. Let him miss you a little bit. It's very good. You'll see.
Good point. And on that note, that's it. That's all for today's program. Don't forget, you can send us your questions on Facebook, Love Talk Show, or via email, questions@lovetalkshow.tv. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.